Your child isn't screaming because of the cup. They're screaming because their nervous system just hit overload. And most parents unknowingly make it worse in the next 5 seconds. What if I told you the fastest way to stop a tantrum is to do the exact opposite of what your instincts demand? Your child is screaming over a cup. Not because you forgot the cup. Not because there's no water. Not because anything is actually wrong. You gave them the blue one, the one they asked for. And somehow, it's the wrong blue. The shade is off by half a universe. And now you're standing there in your kitchen like you just triggered the end of the world. And the worst part isn't the noise. It's what happens inside you. That tight heat crawling up your chest. The urge to fix it fast. To shut it down before it turns into a full scene. Because you can feel it. This is about to spiral. Logic won't land. Distraction won't work. Walking away will make it louder. And if you're honest, there's a moment where you're not even thinking about the cup anymore. You're thinking, please, just stop. If you've ever whispered, why is my child like this? Or worse, why am I like this? I need you to hear me right now. You're not failing. You're not weak. You're not doing parenting wrong. You're just trapped in a pattern most of us were taught without realizing it. Because when that meltdown hits, we go into control mode. We correct. We redirect. We reason. We say things we swore we'd never say. Calm down. You're being ridiculous. It's the same cup. And in that moment, it feels like we're doing the responsible thing. Like we're teaching them. Like we're setting boundaries. But here's the scary truth. I didn't understand until I was living it over and over again. The more I tried to stop the tantrum, the bigger it got. It wasn't just that my child was upset. It was like my reaction poured gasoline on the fire. Like every fix-it move I made was secretly telling their brain, you're not safe. And that's when I started asking myself a question that honestly shook me. What if my child isn't being dramatic? What if they're drowning in a nervous system storm and I've been trying to lecture them back to shore? Hi, welcome to Parenting Made Simple. And today I want to share something that completely flipped the way I handle tantrums. A 60-second approach rooted in a Korean concept called Jong. It felt almost too gentle to work until I watched it change a meltdown right in front of me. And if you stay with me to the end, you'll understand why the fastest way to calm a child isn't control. It's presence. Before we dive in, if this kind of real-life parenting support helps you, please subscribe to the channel. It genuinely supports what we're building here, and it gives me the motivation to keep making more videos that actually help on the hard days. So when I said I'd found a different way to handle that storm, I wasn't being dramatic. I was admitting I'd hit a wall with the way I'd been doing it. Because here's what I used to think tantrums were. I thought they were a behavior problem, a discipline problem, a my kid is pushing limits problem. And if I'm being totally honest, sometimes I even thought it was a respect problem. So I did what made sense in my head. I tried to correct it, I tried to guide it, I tried to fix it fast. I would come in with quick solutions and firm words because I believed that if I didn't stop it immediately, I was teaching my child that screaming works. But what I didn't understand yet was this. In the middle of a meltdown, my child wasn't choosing chaos. Their nervous system was. And my quick fix energy, even when my words sounded reasonable, was being received as pressure. It's such a weird thing to realize as a parent because from our side, we feel like we're being helpful. We're thinking, I'm doing my job. I'm staying firm. I'm teaching them. But a dysregulated child isn't listening for logic. They're scanning for safety. And when I came in tall, tense, and determined to shut it down, their body read it like a threat. Not because I'm scary, but because their system was already flooded. Their emotional brain was running the show, and it doesn't speak the language of explanations. It speaks the language of signals. Am I safe? Am I alone? Is this person with me or against me? And when the answer feels like against me, even accidentally, the fear response gets louder. That's why the crying turns to screaming. That's why the flailing gets bigger. That's why the moment stretches from a small storm into something that takes over the whole afternoon. I remember standing there thinking, why is this escalating? I'm not even yelling. But inside me, there was still urgency, still tension, still that invisible push to control the outcome. And kids feel that. That's where co-regulation changed everything for me. Because co-regulation is basically the idea that your child can't calm their own system yet, not consistently. So they borrow yours. Their nervous system syncs with the one in front of them. So when I panicked, even silently, they panicked harder. When I sped up, they sped up. When I tightened, they pushed back. But when I slowed down, something shifted. Not because I found the perfect words, because my body finally said, "You're safe." And that's the part most of us never got taught. The fastest way out of a tantrum isn't control. It's calm presence that makes the nervous system stop sounding the alarm. And once I finally understood that my child needed safety before anything else, the next question became almost painfully simple. What does safety actually look like in the middle of a tantrum? This is where the Jong pause comes in. I call it a pause because it starts with the one thing that feels impossible when your kid is losing it in public, or in your kitchen, or right beside you when you're already running on fumes. You stop trying to stop it, not because you're giving in, not because you're ignoring boundaries, but because you're choosing to regulate first before you try to resolve anything. And I'm going to warn you right now, the first time you do this, your instincts will protest. Everything in you will want to move faster, talk more, fix more. That's the old pattern trying to take over. But if you can give this 60 seconds, you'll feel why it works. 5 steps. Think of it like building a calm shelter around your child's storm. Let's do it together. Step 1 is lowering your energy and your body. The moment you see the tantrum coming, or even if it's already at full volume, you do 3 things at once. 1 breath that actually reaches your ribs. Drop your shoulders like you're letting something heavy go. And then you crouch down to their eye level. Not towering, meeting. I used to stand over my kid like a tired referee, and I didn't realize how intense that feels to a small person whose whole world is falling apart over the wrong sock or the broken cracker. When you get low, when your face comes closer to theirs, it changes the signal. Your child's body reads it as, "I'm safe. This person isn't here to overpower me. They're here to stay with me." That's about 10 seconds. And already you've done something huge. You've stopped adding height, urgency, and threat to the moment. Step 2 is silent connection. This is the part where you want to start talking. I know, because silence feels like you're not doing anything. It feels like you're letting it happen. But for a few seconds, you don't speak. You just hold steady eye contact, gentle, not demanding. You let your face soften. You let them see, "I'm not mad at you, I'm not scared of you, I'm here." If your child looks away, that's okay. You stay close and calm anyway. If they look at you, you don't fill the space with a lecture. You just breathe. 3 to 5 seconds. It's short, but it's powerful because kids are always watching us, even when they look like they've lost their minds. They're reading our body like a weather report. Are you safe to come back to? Are you going to explode too? This is where you show them the answer. Step 3 is gentle touch. Still without words, you offer contact. Maybe you place your palm on their back. Maybe you rest a hand on their shoulder. Maybe you hold their hand lightly. And this part matters. You don't force it. Some kids melt right into your touch, like they've been waiting for someone to anchor them. Other kids stiffen or pull away because they're still fighting the overwhelm. If they don't want touch, you respect that. You stay near, you stay low, and you keep your energy soft. The goal isn't physical contact. The goal is presence. But when touch is welcome, something changes in a way that's almost hard to describe until you've felt it. Their body starts to let go. The tightness eases. The fists unclench. Their breathing shifts from frantic to choppy to slower. It's like you can see them come back into the room. And I know that sounds dramatic, but if you've ever watched a child go from full meltdown to suddenly leaning into you, you know what I mean. They stop fighting because they finally feel held, not corrected. Seen, not managed. Give it 10 to 15 seconds. That's usually enough for the intensity to start bending. Here's what this looks like in real life. Your child screams because you cut their sandwich wrong, and the old response is to explain. It tastes the same. You might even feel annoyed because you're thinking, "I'm doing everything for you, and this is what I get." But with the Jong pause, you crouch down. 1 breath. You rest your hand gently on their shoulder. You say nothing. And even if they're still crying, the energy shifts. Not because the sandwich changed, but because they're no longer alone in the feeling. Step 4 is naming the feeling. Only now do you speak, and what you say is simple. You don't analyze, you don't teach, you don't sneak in a lesson, you witness. You're really upset right now. You wanted it cut the other way, and that feels wrong. That's frustrating. No judgment, no sarcasm. No, we don't cry over this. Just the truth of what they're feeling. This is where something surprising can happen. Sometimes the crying gets louder for a moment. And if you don't know what's happening, you might panic and think you made it worse. You didn't. That louder crying can be release. It's their nervous system finally letting the feeling move through instead of gripping it like a fight. A child who feels understood doesn't have to scream to prove they're upset. They've been heard. And then we reach step 5, breathe together. Not a command like, take a breath. Not a threat like, if you don't stop, then an invitation. Let's take some deep breaths together. When you're ready, we'll figure it out. I'm right here. This is the moment where you're guiding them forward without abandoning them. You're not pushing them away to calm down in isolation. You're modeling in real time how to move through a big feeling while staying connected. And that's the whole point. Because the tantrum might not vanish instantly. The cup might still be the wrong blue. The toy might still be broken. The sandwich might still be cut wrong. But the nervous system changes. It moves from panic to manageable, from alone to held, from fight to release. And if you want one extra detail that made this easier for me, I started choosing one simple anchor sentence, and I kept repeating it in the same steady tone. I'm here. You're safe. We'll get through this not to convince them, not to end it faster, just to keep myself grounded while their storm passed. 60 seconds, 5 steps. And what you've really done isn't handle behavior. You've taught their body a new pattern. Big feelings can happen, and love stays. And if you're listening to this thinking, okay, that sounds beautiful, but what if my child just keeps screaming anyway? I want to meet you right there because I had that exact fear. The first time I tried the Jong pause, I remember doing everything right and still hearing my kid get louder. For a second, I felt that familiar drop in my stomach, like, great, I'm failing again. This gentle approach is just going to turn me into a doormat. But what I learned is that the first few times, the loudness isn't always resistance. Sometimes it's surprise. Your child has a pattern they're used to. They melt down, you tighten up, you try to fix it, and the whole thing turns into a tug of war. So when you show up differently, grounded, not rushing, some kids will test it. They're basically asking, are you really staying with me, even now? So day 1, you might see them scream harder. Not because it's worse, but because you've changed the script. Don't take it as failure. Take it as your child's nervous system noticing something unfamiliar. By day 3, something shifts in a way that's hard to explain until you hear it. The crying starts to sound different. Less frantic, more like release. You might still get tears, but you'll feel less chaos in it. Your child is beginning to trust that you're not going to fight their feelings. And by day 5, many parents notice the recovery time shrinking. The tantrum still happens, but it burns out faster. And what surprised me the most wasn't just the speed, it was the closeness after. Instead of pushing me away, my child started coming toward me. Like the meltdown ended in connection, not distance. That's not obedience, that's safety. And then there's the longer payoff. Months down the road, the moments that would have turned into rage start showing up as tears instead. Your child comes to you sooner. They let you help. They tell you what happened because your calm has become familiar. It's not perfection. It's repetition. You're not just calming a tantrum, you're teaching a nervous system how to come home. And once you realize you're not just surviving these moments, but actually shaping what your child's brain learns from them, it becomes hard to go back to the old way. So here's what I want you to try the next time it happens, because it will happen. Maybe over the wrong blue cup again, or the sandwich cut the wrong way, or a toy that suddenly feels like the end of the world. Don't rush to fix it. Don't try to win it. Just pause. Lower your body. Hold steady eye contact without words. Offer gentle touch if it's welcome. Name what they're feeling, and breathe with them. If you need to, set a timer for 60 seconds and treat it like an experiment. Not to prove your child wrong, but to prove safety can change the whole direction of the storm. And if you try it, come back and tell me what shifted, even if it's small, because your child won't remember every meltdown, but they'll remember the feeling of you staying close when they couldn't hold themselves together. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today, it's this. Tantrums aren't just bad moments you have to survive. They're actually a window into your child's nervous system and an opportunity to teach something deeper than obedience. Because in the middle of a meltdown, your child isn't trying to ruin your day. They're not sitting there thinking, how can I make my parent miserable? They're overwhelmed. Their emotions have taken the wheel, and their body is sounding an alarm that they don't yet know how to turn off by themselves. And that's where your role becomes incredibly powerful, not as the person who wins the moment, not as the person who shuts it down the fastest, but as the steady ground your child can borrow until they learn how to stand on their own. The deeper lesson here isn't just about parenting. It's about relationships. It's about what happens when someone is overwhelmed, whether that's a toddler crying over a cup, a teenager slamming a door, or even an adult partner who's shutting down after a hard day. Most of the time, the thing people need first isn't a solution. It's safety. It's presence. It's the feeling of I'm not alone in this. So here's how you apply this in real life, starting today. The next time you feel the urge to fix, correct, or control someone's emotion, pause. Take a breath. Lower your energy. Make space for the feeling before you make space for the lesson. You'll be amazed how often calm presence changes the entire conversation. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's the most common thing your child melts down over right now? Cups, clothes, bedtime, food, or something else? Please comment below so we can all learn from each other's experiences. And if this video helped you even a little, subscribe to Parenting Made Simple. It truly supports the channel and gives me the motivation to keep making more practical, real-life parenting content for you.